We are now just 150 days away from the official release of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio, as well as creator George Lucas. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, what's really exciting about this film is that we do know that there are going to be a lot of connections to the prequels and the originals that'll actually change our view of all the past 8 Star Wars movies that come before this one in this current trilogy. Now, what's really intriguing about Episode 9 is that these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting, involving Anakin Skywalker, Rey, and even Luke, and its effect on The Last Jedi. Now, what's really intriguing about all of this is that a description of Rey traveling to the Lost City, where it's described that she is on a mission to discover Jedi and Sith lore, to create a new order with historical accuracy of the knowledge of the dark and the light. It's described that eventually Rey travels to the land of warriors, where she eventually comes across the statue of Anakin Skywalker, that was created sometime after the Clone Wars many years ago by the Force Guardians. It's described that one of the scenes involves a moment in which Rey touches the statue with her hand, where she feels a specific presence that is said to be the Force ghost of Anakin Skywalker. It's said that Rey feels Anakin's presence as very familiar and a power that she felt during her time on Ahch-To during the events of The Last Jedi. Now, it's described that Rey felt Anakin's presence during the events of The Last Jedi when she started training with the Skywalker family saber, and that Anakin was guiding her through the ways of the Force. During that very moment, additionally, it's said that one of the other sequences between both Luke's Force Ghost and Rey is that Luke unveils that his father Anakin taught him many abilities that originate from the netherworld of the Force, including the Force projection technique that Anakin taught Luke during his time on the island, before closing himself off from the Force itself. Anakin was said to be guiding Rey during her time on the island to inspire Luke to become the man he needed to be. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, what's really great about this is that this has a massive effect on how we view The Last Jedi, what Rey was actually doing on the island, and exactly what was going through her mind during her training sessions. Again, in case you guys have not tuned in for a while, there is some strange connection between Rey and the Skywalker saber, and that she does indeed feel Anakin's presence during the events of The Last Jedi on the island of Ahch-To, and that it was Anakin guiding her in order to really indirectly reach out to Luke in order to inspire Luke to become the man he needed to be. And that's one of the big reasons as to why I now believe that it would have been more proper to have Luke Skywalker having a talk with, of course, Anakin Skywalker and Luke between father and son just near the tree library instead of Yoda. But at the same exact time, Yoda was still a good choice, but I feel that that character, even then in that moment, was just a little off in comparison to how he was used in Empire and Return of the Jedi. So, moving on, I want to go over how there was a moment in, of course, The Rise of Skywalker, where Rey goes over to the Lost City and discovers a statue of Anakin Skywalker. Now, this statue is said to have been created by the Force Guardians, that created the statue sometime after the events of the Clone Wars, and we will be learning more about this statue of Anakin once the Clone Wars Season 7 drops in 2020. That's another project, by the way, that a lot of fans are really looking forward to seeing, of course, related to the Star Wars franchise itself. So once Rey places her hand on the statue, she feels the same exact presence that she did as she did in The Last Jedi, and this presence is said to be the Force ghost of Anakin Skywalker. So what's really great about this is that this is, of course, allowing Rey to realize exactly what she felt on Ahch-To, and she realizes exactly who it is right now. I think the more interesting part of all of this is the moment in which Luke's Force Ghost is delivering many different lessons and tales of his past to Rey, where Luke essentially unveils to Rey that it was his father Anakin who taught him many abilities from the netherworld of the Force and the beyond, and one of those abilities were, of course, the Force projection technique that Luke Skywalker learned by his own father Anakin Skywalker during his time on Ahch-To. That was, of course, well before he closed himself off from the Force. Now, what's great about this is that you can really see how this changes a view of The Last Jedi. It may not fix The Last Jedi entirely for those who really hated it and for those who really had issues with it as much as I did. I had a lot of problems with The Last Jedi. I will agree. I will say that. But I'm really crossing my fingers here that J.J. Abrams will be able to knock this one out of the park and really will be able to make us view the Skywalker saga in a completely different way, which of course is his big plan here. It's one of the reasons as to why there's a lot of revelations going into this film. Even Eunice Swatamo, the man who plays Chewbacca, he said that during his time on the set of of course, The Rise of Skywalker from start to finish, is that this whole entire movie is I did not see that coming moment. And that to me is big. That's quite massive, and it tells us that JJ really is aiming high for this movie to mark it down as the best of the sequel trilogy. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night